to Vegas like probably 20 times, and I definitely think this is the slowest I've seen in a long time. You can find closed parking in the casinos. You can drive with no traffic. It's pretty smooth.
I'm very concerned because it's slow. When I drive down the strip going to work in the morning, and I barely see visitors out there.
All right, we're in Vegas. This is supposed to be the city that never sleeps, but there's like literally no one around here at all. And on all of our walks.
Las Vegas, a former tourist paradise that was the golden ticket bringing millions of visitors from around the world to seek their dreams. People are willing to work all year round, saving every penny to exchange for a few nights of dreams and a big win here. Yet strangely enough, no one is eager to go to Vegas in 2025 anymore. Millions of tourists who once crowded the avenue have disappeared, leaving behind an empty summer and a huge void that cannot be filled in an economy dependent on tourism. The streets are deserted, and the once bustling shopping centres are now just closed shops. No more slot machines, no more cheers of victory, only the heavy silence of a city slowly approaching the brink of collapse. From the glittering symbol of the American dream, Las Vegas has now become clear evidence of the fragility of an economy built on consumer illusion and tourism. Is this silence merely temporary, or is it a sign that an era has ended? In today's video, we won't just list the events, but also delve into the inner workings of the collapse. From bustling shops now closed, to the disrupted lives of employees and local residents. Does Vegas still have a chance to continue its glory, or has it officially entered a page of decline? Let's find the answer right now. Coming to Las Vegas in 2025 is like witnessing a betrayal of memory. For those who have been attached to and love this city, that feeling is like losing a part of themselves, a piece of memory that once shone brightly, but now only leaves behind fading traces. Once hailed as a miniature version of the world, where you could wander through ancient Egypt, drift through romantic Venice, cross glamorous New York, and then stop under the Eiffel Tower of a miniature Paris, the city has suddenly become empty and desolate, like a dream that has faded away. The most striking symbol of this decline is the Prim outlet. In 2001, it was among the top 5 largest outlets in the United States, featuring around 100 famous brands. Nike, Tommy Hilfiger, H&M, Calvin Klein, Coach, Michael Kors, along with bustling food courts that were always packed with tourists. However, everything has now disappeared. Empty rows of tables and chairs, old and worn signs still hanging, but the shops have vanished, leaving a scene like a lifeless ghost town. Today, that entire vast centre is left with only one small store, Sand Thrift USA, barely operating in absolute silence. The long, winding corridors were deserted, with no visitors at all, a stark testament to the decline. This collapse didn't stem from a single cause, but rather from the confluence of multiple factors. First, we must mention the geographical location. Located too far from the center of Las Vegas, Prim Outlet couldn't attract local customers and relied solely on the flow of tourists traveling between Los Angeles and Vegas. When the COVID-19 pandemic caused a decline in long-distance travelers, the entire commercial district immediately spiraled into decline. Additionally, the image of Las Vegas in the summer of 2025 is becoming a global disappointment. Unreasonable price increases and inflated value tricks have caused the city to lose favor with tourists. A Canadian tourist who has been coming to Vegas for many years frankly admits, "I still travel to Vegas every summer and settle down every winter. This place is like my second home. But the way they exploited the loyalty of their regular customers betrayed my trust. I will never contribute another penny to this city's collapsing economy." From a destination that once illuminated and nurtured consumer dreams, Prim Outlet is now a gateway to the failed American dream. And that tragedy didn't stop at Prim. A string of familiar names, from Ashley Furniture to the TGI Fridays chain, with 4 locations in Boyd gaming casinos such as Orleans, Sam's Town, Aliante, and Gold Coast, are also quietly closing or filing for bankruptcy. Those spaces that once held experiences and created precious memories for millions of visitors are now just fading fragments, gradually sinking into the dust of the past. Looking back at the abandoned corridors, fading signs, and fading memories, perhaps we will realize that Las Vegas is not only losing its shopping malls, but also losing the trust of a generation that once considered it a symbol of the American dream. When places that once nurtured beautiful experiences and memories become ghost towns, what will be left for future generations? A dream that continues to shine, or just silent ruins in the desert? The emptiness of Las Vegas is no longer limited to abandoned shopping malls, but is spreading throughout the city, encompassing even places once considered the soul of the tourist paradise. Warning signs have been sounding since 2024, when Ocean One Bar and Grill, an icon of a Vegas for everyone with $4.99 lunch specials, officially closed. From then on, hotel bills advertised at $99 easily climbed to $175 after a series of surcharges. A $55 resort fee, a 13.38% room tax, and even a fee for using the pool, even when the pool was closed. A vacation in Vegas is now like a bet that players lose from the moment they book their room. Famous casinos like the Bellagio, Caesars Palace, and MGM Grand have become deserted, and the bright neon lights only serve to highlight the emptiness. Many tourists turned away and sought out local casinos, where they found cheaper rooms, buffets still available, free parking, and blackjack paying 3 to 2 with many $5 tables, which had disappeared from the strip. For many, this option is not only economical, but also a way to escape the feeling of being legally fleeced on the Las Vegas Boulevard Strip. A Canadian tourist frankly exclaimed, "Who would want to go somewhere just to have their wallet drained? Vegas has lost its soul. Farewell, and we won't meet again." Worse, the space around the casinos is now surrounded by rows of makeshift tents. The homeless, many of whom were once employees of this very hotel and casino, now set up their sleeping quarters right behind the brightly lit billboards. Under the scorching heat of over 115 degrees Fahrenheit, tents made of scrap fabric, wooden pallets, and plastic tarps stretch across the strip, once the domain of tourists and get-rich-quick dreams. The homelessness crisis has become an integral part of the Vegas urban landscape. In 2025 alone, Clark County estimates there will be nearly 8,000 homeless individuals, according to the Southern Nevada Homeless Continuum of Care report. No longer gathering in parks or under bridges, they set up urban encampments right in front of restaurants, hotels, and even the entrances to famous casinos. The streets that once welcomed tourists now make them hurry along due to a sense of unease. Many businesses are concerned that this is driving away middle-class customers, especially seniors, a group that has historically been the backbone of Las Vegas tourism. Reflections on Reddit, YouTube, and TripAdvisor pile up, being overcharged, not feeling welcome, and even feeling deceived. This is no longer just a few scattered complaints, but a sign that Vegas is lost. The only remaining success seems to be that they have pushed out the very people who once made up the soul of the city. For many who found their Vegas dream in 1995, when less than $0 could buy 3 full days of enjoyment, today's bills of $40 for a snack, $0 for a slice of pizza, and $0 for a glass of water are a stark reminder that the golden age is over. They left, not because they lost at the betting table, but because they no longer felt welcome here. And it was precisely those who remained, for work, for nostalgia, or simply because they had nowhere else to go, who witnessed the cracks most clearly. They not only see Vegas changing every day, but they also deeply feel the cracks that are eating away at the soul of a city that was once so vibrant. So, if even Las Vegas, the city once considered the shining beacon of the American dream, is now empty and broken, Where else can that belief be preserved? And when the dreams of a generation have been sold out by surcharges, exorbitant prices, and the lights that obscure reality, what will future generations still want to find in this city? Las Vegas was once a destination where people believed a few $100s could buy a memorable vacation, a hearty buffet, a night in a sparkling hotel, and even the chance to try their luck at the gaming tables. But in 2025, many visitors describe their experience here as paying for an illusion. The neon lights still shone brightly, but when the bill arrived, that brilliance quickly turned into a feeling of being deceived. A recent survey by Travel Plus Leisure revealed that Las Vegas is among the top 5 most overpriced destinations in the United States, with over 60% of tourists feeling that the cost is not commensurate with the value they receive. Behind the dazzling lights are escalating prices for every little experience. From cocktails at the rooftop bar costing over $30 to concert tickets exceeding $200, this city is turning simple pleasures into luxury privileges. That change caused Vegas to lose the very thing that made it so appealing: its welcoming atmosphere. Many older tourists, especially those who have been coming to the city for decades, say they no longer feel like Vegas belongs to them. On the AARP forum, an American over 60 wrote, "We used to consider Vegas an annual vacation, but now every little detail is charged for. I no longer recognize the city I used to love." This high cost is also creating deeper social consequences. When middle-class customers turn away, revenue becomes heavily reliant on high-spending customer groups. This has led many hotels and casinos to focus on a VIP-first model, prioritizing luxurious experiences for a select few, while neglecting the majority who once defined the city's identity. The result is an increasingly clear division: a lavish Vegas for the super-rich and a harsh, unwelcoming Vegas for everyone else. Worse, the high cost isn't just present in entertainment venues, but also affects the very lives of those who work here. A 2024 report by the Nevada Housing Coalition shows that rental costs in Las Vegas have increased by over 35% in just 5 years, forcing many hospitality workers, a cornerstone of the city, to live in cramped conditions or leave the place that once provided their livelihoods. A city cannot survive long if even the people who give it life cannot stay connected. So, what's the way out? Some large corporations have begun to experiment with a different direction. Hilton is implementing the Clear Stay pricing program, which publicly discloses all costs from the booking stage, rather than adding them up at the end. Some resorts outside the Strip are investing in all-inclusive packages, similar to the Caribbean model, to create a sense of transparency and safety for guests. This could be the first step in restoring trust, the core element that Vegas is gradually losing. From a city that once nurtured the dream of a better life, Las Vegas is facing the risk of becoming a vivid testament to unlimited extravagance. People don't come here to lose at the betting table, but to ask themselves, am I being charged for a faded dream? If a city built on trust and generosity is now remembered for its high prices and disappointment, what will Las Vegas have left for future generations? And is Scam Vegas just a tourist complaint, or is it gradually becoming the nature of a city once considered the entertainment capital of the world? Perhaps never in modern history has a city left visitors feeling both overwhelmed and disappointed like Las Vegas in 2025. Neon lights still blanket the Nevada desert, and the boulevards still flaunt the glitz of an entertainment paradise. But when the bill is placed on the table, many are startled to wonder, is Vegas still a place to dream, or has it become a giant money trap? Visitor experiences are changing in unexpected ways. What once felt like a great deal now leaves them disappointed. A simple breakfast in a hotel can cost up to $25, and a regular cup of coffee can be 3 times more expensive than the national average. Entertainment shows, the soul of Vegas, now have starting tickets exceeding $50, forcing many families to choose between overspending or missing out on part of the experience that was once the reason they came here. According to a 2024 report by the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Consumer Price Index, CPI, in the Las Vegas area increased by nearly 20% over 4 years, which is higher than the national average. Specifically, the Recreation and Tourism Services cost group showed the highest increase, accurately reflecting the concerns of international visitors. For many, Vegas is no longer a spontaneous trip for a bit of fun, but has become a financial investment that must be carefully considered. More worryingly, this high cost isn't just limited to the wallet, it's also eroding trust. Older tourists, the generation who were familiar with Vegas from the 70s and 80s, shared that they felt pushed aside. When every detail comes with an additional cost, the resort experience turns into a feeling of being taken advantage of. Conversations on travel forums are filled with negative comments, from the price of food and service fees to the feeling of no longer being welcome. In that picture, event organizers, small business owners, and even service industry workers are directly affected. Many small businesses that rely on tourist traffic are reporting double-digit revenue declines, forcing them to cut staff or scale back operations. A city that lives off tourists, but when the tourists themselves feel like victims of high prices, how long can Vegas survive? Nevertheless, there are still glimmers of hope. Some major hotel corporations are starting to realize the risks of milking their customers. Marriott International recently announced the all-inclusive transparency service package, where all costs are disclosed from the moment of booking, aiming to provide a sense of security and transparency. This could be a solution to regain trust, an intangible but the most important asset if Las Vegas wants to maintain its global iconic status. Is this adjustment coming too late? If the Vegas dream of today is encapsulated by unreasonable bills and a sense of being cheated, what will future generations remember about this city? The light of a dream or the darkness of a betrayal? There are cities that can hide their cracks with a coat of glamorous paint, but Las Vegas in 2025 is not one of them. Even as the neon lights still glow brightly and the billboards continue to promise the dream of a better life, reality reveals a different story. A city caught in a downward spiral of economic decline from which it is not easy to escape. The most noticeable thing is the excessive dependence on tourism. When the number of visitors decreases, everything that operates with it also falls apart. Taxi companies, car rental services, souvenir shops, and even printing houses that produce advertising posters for the show have all seen a drop in revenue. A 2024 study by the Brookings Institution indicates that Las Vegas has over 55% of its workforce directly or indirectly dependent on the tourism and entertainment industry. That means that every empty seat in a theater, every unoccupied hotel room, creates a ripple effect that extends to many other industries. Suburban residential areas, home to tens of thousands of service workers, are now also facing a crisis. As incomes fall, daily shopping needs plummet, forcing grocery stores, small supermarkets, and local eateries to struggle to stay afloat. Many restaurant owners admit they've been forced to cut opening hours, even lay off staff because there aren't enough customers to sustain the business. Behind the opulent casino walls, an underground economy is withering. It's not just about personal income. The crisis has also infiltrated the public financial system. Clark County has historically relied heavily on hotel and casino taxes to maintain its budget. When that revenue source declined sharply, infrastructure projects, community welfare, and healthcare services were stalled. Nevada's public financial reports show that revenue from recreational taxes decreased by nearly 8% in 2024 alone compared to the previous year. This number might not be immediately shocking, but in a city where almost every activity revolves around entertainment, it's a sign of a prolonged economic nightmare. These lasting impacts are not only etched in the books, but also in the community spirit. People who were once proud of Las Vegas as the city that never sleeps are now admitting fatigue from working longer hours to make up for lost income. Doubt creeps in. Does the place once considered the symbol of the American dream still have room for ordinary people? However, even in that darkness, there is still an effort to find a way out. Large corporations like Hyatt Hotels have launched the Destination Reset initiative, committing to a focus on sustainable experiences, cost transparency, support for local labor, and investment in community services. This isn't just a business strategy, it's also a way to regain trust, a factor perhaps more important than any neon light on the strip. Will these measures be enough to turn things around, given how long Las Vegas's economic nightmare has lasted? And once the city's dream, built on generosity and opportunity, has become a cost burden, what will Las Vegas have left to pass on to the next generation? There's a paradox unfolding in Las Vegas. The lights are still bright, the advertisements are still dense, but empty seats, abandoned tables, and increasingly sparsely populated flights have become a familiar sight. If previously the absence was primarily mentioned in the context of international tourists, now even domestic tourists, who once considered Vegas an annual destination, are withdrawing. This change is happening quietly, but has a strong ripple effect. Instead of bringing the whole family to Vegas for a long vacation, many Americans are choosing to stay at destinations closer to home or return to beaches and national parks. According to 2024 statistics from the National Park Service, visits to national parks in the Southwest increased by over 9% compared to 2019, while the number of long-term overnight stays in Las Vegas decreased. This reflects a clear trend. Domestic travelers are seeking simple and affordable experiences, rather than pursuing the risky glitz of Vegas. The impact of this withdrawal spread to the local community as well. When domestic customers, who account for the majority of annual revenue, decline, small shops and ancillary services are directly affected. From laundries and coffee shops to event service providers, all are reporting double-digit declines in revenue. A silent spiral is forming. Fewer tourists, less consumption, fewer jobs, even less appeal for the city. In this context, the question is not only how to bring back international tourists, but also how to keep Americans coming. Efforts are being tested. Delta Airlines has partnered with several hotel chains to offer a fly and stay package, promising discounted airfare when booking simultaneously. This is one of the initiatives aimed at revitalizing appeal, while also affirming that the Vegas experience can become more accessible if redesigned rationally. However, will these solutions be enough to reverse a deeply ingrained trend? If even domestic tourists, the sustainable engine of Las Vegas, are abandoning the city, what will be left of Las Vegas beside lights and empty chairs? And more importantly, will the American dream that Vegas once symbolized be remembered as a generous invitation or just a distant memory? Las Vegas was once a symbol of the American dream, where light could eclipse all darkness. But today, what remains is not just abandoned shopping malls or empty casinos, but also a big question mark about the future of a city that was once one of the brightest in the world. If even Vegas, America's entertainment capital, is faltering, what does that mean for other communities that depend on tourism and consumption? And are we witnessing the end of an era, or just a turning point for Vegas to be reborn in a different way? If you find this a thought-provoking story, please leave a comment with your thoughts, click like, share, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on our next exploration journeys. The content in this video is based on public sources, official reports, and aggregated assessments. Some of the details presented are illustrative or reflect a social perspective, not definitive statements or absolute truths. The video is not intended to assign responsibility to any individual, organization, or government. Our goal is to spark reflection, create space for dialogue, and offer audiences a more multifaceted picture of the issues at hand.